I got an A star in my A-level psychology, so let's talk about how. I did the AQA psychology exam last year, and I'm going to be giving you guys some of my advice that I used to get an A star. Obviously, everyone is different, everyone learns in different ways, but these are some things that I did that I thought really helped. Also, quick disclaimer, I was predicted either a C or a B, so I went above my predicted grade by quite a lot. I'm probably going to have to do this in quite a few parts, but today I'm going to be talking specifically about essays. So for AQA, the most we have on an essay is a 16 marker. I know that some examples do 20 markers, but just keep that in mind. Firstly, I want to specify how important the spec is. The spec is like that long list of stuff that they give you. If you know that spec off by heart, you're already like halfway to winning. So the main thing that I did is I learned literally every single word on that spec, and I knew like the back of my hand. So for every single part on the spec, I learned a 16 marker for every single thing. Now this sounds kind of crazy and it also sounds daunting, but if you know a 16 marker for every single thing on the spec, you cannot be tripped up, because that way you can also answer a 4, 6, 8 or 12 marker as well using that same essay. So for example, if you've learned a 16 marker on like long-term memory, if they ask you for an outline, you've got the outline from that essay. If they ask you for an advantage, you'll have an advantage, like all of that stuff. But the most important thing to know is the outline. An outline is worth 6 marks, not 4, you guys. This was something I literally did not get into my brain until like the end, is that an outline is actually worth 6 marks. So make sure that you have 6 points in your outline, including like a definition, case study, whatever. I think something a lot of people also get tripped up on is the final paragraph on a 16 marker. So there are kind of like 2 different things you can do for that final paragraph. The first one is real world applications, which is obviously like a study. Personally, I hated using that option because it meant you had to learn an extra paragraph. So what I would do is I would try and bring in something else from the spec and like use it as either like a for or against. So I can't really remember much of it now, but like if there was something against like the short-term memory model, I would talk about how the long-term memory model was better. The advantage of this is that you don't have to learn an extra paragraph, you can just bring in something that you already know, so it's one less thing to learn. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically try and use research from like another thing that can like make it look bad. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. Essay plans. I got essay plans literally drilled into my head from the beginning. So the thing that I did is I wrote out like P1, P2, P3, P4, and then I would write what I was going to talk about in each one. So for the outline, I would write out the 6 key things that I was going to talk about, so that was like drilled into my brain. And then for the strengths and weaknesses, I would write like the case study or whatever I wanted to talk about. And then the final paragraph, I would write either like real world application or a study that I wanted to use for and against. I wrote these out every single day. So the first like hour of my revision, I would spend going over literally everything that I've learned so far by doing the essay plans.